Legion of Superheroes number 6 has finally come out and given us some insight into the mysterious new Gold Lantern that writer Brian Michael Bendis has created for this incarnation of the Legion's future. And going into the issue, we knew basically nothing at all. The Gold Lantern first appeared at the end of Legion of Superheroes Millennium number 2 in late 2019. Once the Legion's ongoing series started, he would pop up a very small number of times over the first 5 issues, always in group shots, never having anything significant to say, and never using his powers. It wasn't until issue 6 that we started to get a little bit of insight into who this character is and what he can do. And I stress little bit. His presence in the issue amounts to about 2 pages during a chaotic fight scene, but we do get some dialogue that can be used to infer a few things. He introduces himself as the Gold Lantern of this galactic. Galactic being the term people in the Legion's future use to refer to a planet or planetary system, meaning that he's calling himself the Gold Lantern of Earth, which implies there are more Gold Lanterns out in space, an idea that's propped up by the villain's reaction when he shouts, "The Lantern is coming," showing that he knows what a Gold Lantern is and what one can do, which is significant because a big part of the story is the fact that the Legion is still new and has never engaged in a battle like this before, meaning this villain's experiences with Gold Lanterns had to have come from somewhere else. All of this to say, it's a pretty safe bet that there is a Gold Lantern Corps in the Legion's future, which I know is something a lot of us were just assuming anyway, but understand that this is one of the very few times any lanterns have been present in a Legion future at all. It's always been the case that all of the present-day heroes we're familiar with are long gone by the time we get to the Legion's future, with the only exception being a few surviving stories that are mostly about Superboy, so it was never automatically a given that there was going to be more than one Gold Lantern. As far as his powers go, we don't learn much, but the things we do get are interesting and unexpected. The bad guy is shooting out all of the water of Earth's oceans as a projectile? Don't ask. And when the Gold Lantern's construct intercepts it, he states that what he's trying to do is transmute the attack. And that's a very interesting choice of words because transmutation implies alchemy, the process most famously associated with turning lead into gold. Brainiac 5 asks the Gold Lantern if he can teleport or even transmute the bad guy away from Earth. So it would seem the power of the Gold Lantern centers around transmutation, changing the state of matter from one thing into another, and possibly getting creative enough with that process to achieve some pretty wild effects like teleportation. I couldn't begin to guess how, and you have now seen literally everything that currently exists explaining the Gold Lantern's powers. It's just too soon to arrive at anything definitive. I also don't know how this works when you've already got an alchemic character on the team in the form of Element Lad. It does make me wonder if the Gold Lanterns are tied to the emotional spectrum, or any spectrum at all for that matter, or if the rings are just future technology built to emulate the heroes of the 21st century, just like the Legion as a group is. He does wear both a Gold Lantern ring and a Legion flight ring, but that really shouldn't be taken into account when talking about his powers. The Legion ring is basically just a membership badge. Sure, it does things like let you fly, survive in space, and act as a communicator and so on, but it's standard issue for everyone in the Legion. Even characters with literal wings growing out of their backs wear a flight ring. It doesn't mean they use all of its functions. Hell, Superboy is wearing one, and he's definitely still just using his own powers for everything. It's also worth noting that both the fight scene and the issue's cover show his power manifesting in highly detailed ornate patterns, though again it's too soon to know what that means. The only other thing to mention is that the Gold Lantern can move fast enough to impress Superboy, so take that for what you will. The last thing I'll note on Legion number 6 is that, in classic Bendis fashion, he teases us with the promise of an amazing backstory that he likely won't tell us for a good long while. Creating the Gold Lantern for the Legion isn't the only Green Lantern stuff Bendis has been doing. He also created Kelly Quintella, the Teen Lantern for his Young Justice series, as well as introducing a new version of the White Lantern ring over in Batman Universe. I discussed it in my White Lantern video, but this White Lantern ring is positioned to be an ancient prototype ring that came before the Guardians created the Green Lantern Corps, suggesting that Bendis could be revising some messy Green Lantern history while also redefining Green Lantern's future over in Legion of Superheroes with the Gold Lantern. It's Legion of Superheroes in particular that interests me, because so much of Bendis' work since coming to DC has been emphasizing the importance of the Legion. Not only did he relaunch the book with a new take on the Legion and their future, but most of his work with Superman has been in service of Legion world building. Bendis' entire Superman run, starting with a 6-issue Man of Steel miniseries and then the first 15 issues of the ongoing Superman series, had all been leading up to the present-day establishment of the United Planets, the galactic governing body of the Legion's future, and the repercussions of the United Planets formation continues to be a heavy influence on the present day as his Superman run continues. His Legion book was immediately preceded by a 2-issue miniseries called Legion of Superheroes Millennium, which takes every single alternate future timeline DC's ever had and organizes them all into a single cohesive timeline, culminating with the Legion's future. Between using 2 years of Superman issues to build up an aspect of the Legion, reorganizing DC's future timelines into something that positions the Legion as this culmination of a millennium of progress, the launch of a new Legion book, and the introduction of a new kind of lantern in the Legion's future, all written by Bendis, it makes me feel like the Legion of Superheroes is going to be the book to watch if you're interested in Bendis' long-term plans. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm just overthinking it, but I have a feeling about that book. At the very least, I think it's significant that Bendis has already expanded the mythology of Green Lantern by introducing 3 new elements all shrouded in mystery. The Gold Lantern, Teen Lantern, and that White Ring. There are so many questions about their origins and what they can do, again, all of it coming from Bendis. I really do believe he has a Green Lantern story he's looking to tell, and what we're seeing now might be the early seeds being planted. There's also the Arisia rumors. Back in November of 2018, Bendis said on Twitter that the name Arisia Rab made it into his spell check, implying that he's been writing that name enough for his spell check to recognize, leading many to speculate that he has a story in the works involving her. I wouldn't put too much stock in this one though. I haven't been able to find anything else suggesting there are any plans for the character, whether it be related to any of his other projects or not, and it could very easily just be him making a joke. Either way, the only upcoming appearance of Arisia we know about for sure is her role in the 2nd volume of Green Lantern Earth 1 by Gabriel Hardman and Corinna Becto, which wouldn't have anything to do with the mainline books or Bendis. So there you go! You now know everything about the Gold Lantern and what Brian Michael Bendis has been doing around the edges of Green Lantern. It'll probably be a while before we know more than this, but I'm curious what you think, and I hope you'll tell me in the comments below your thoughts on the Gold Lantern, the Legion, and anything that Bendis is doing at DC right now. You can also follow Mosaic Comics on Twitter, and the text version of this video is available at mosaiccomics.blogspot.com. Links in the description below. Thank you for taking the time to watch. My name is Dan. We'll talk again soon.